Again, welcome everyone to the 11:30 Sunday presentation, Cannabis and Hemp Social Media for 2020, an insider's guide to organic Instagram growth. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't already done that. I'm Shango Los, host of the Shaping Fire podcast. If you like listening to smart interviews with the top minds in cannabis, I invite you to check out the show at shapingfire.com. We also have an extraordinary YouTube channel with over 150 speaker videos I've recorded at events just like this one. In fact, our speaker, Bryan Wachsman, already appears on the channel teaching about living soil and avocado tech. Bryan Wachsman is an accomplished probiotic grower and sought-after speaker on living soil cultivation. He is co-founder of Living Soil Solutions. Through his successful use of it, Bryan has gained insight on how to build a social media following. Today, he's going to share that insight with us. Please welcome Bryan Wachsman.
What's up, Denver? I've been away for a while, so it feels good to come back. I've kind of gone through some things on Instagram with using some marketing companies and stuff, so I hope to give you guys an insider look on what it really takes to build your Instagram organically. So it kind of ties into the way that I like to grow cannabis and the same way that I like to grow my Instagram account. So for 2020, I really hope that you guys start to see that social media is king, and that if you guys aren't on at least Instagram, especially for your larger brands, you're really missing out. So I hope to kind of educate you guys and enlighten you guys so that at least you'll start that Instagram, and it is a daily thing. So. All right, I gotta get this down here. All right, so who remembers the Mass Roots days? Anybody in here? All right, so that's kind of where I started. I started learning about content creation, that kind of stuff. And because it was all cannabis related, it was pretty easy to gain followers. So I just worked on making sure that my content kept improving. So the first viral photo that I ever had was this photo right here. It was done in my basement, and I just started growing with a cover crop, improving clones. You see a little one here, and then as that one started to grow, I would add the cover crop. A lot of people back then weren't really showing that, so that's how I was able to start building a profile on Mass Roots. If you guys remember like Wiz Khalifa, Lil Wayne, if you guys went to that show, this was my first Mass Roots photo that actually was featured. So on the platform there, that meant that pretty much every single person would be able to see your photo. So in hindsight, that kind of like gave me that injection of social media where it felt good to open up that platform and see 1,000 people liking your stuff. So unfortunately, Mass Roots ended up getting shut down. I believe they went bankrupt and reported losses of $44 million. So to run these social media things is huge. One thing that I did learn with the Mass Roots platform is that basically I am building my house the same as you guys on somebody else's land. So remember that if the littlest thing happens, all that work, I spent, unfortunately I couldn't get to my Mass Roots account, but it had over 10,000 followers, and that took me about 2 years to build. So that was really 2 years wasted for me. The next one that I learned about was content creation again. So I started teaching myself about Canva. I was showing how living soil could grow roots a lot easier than synthetic salts, and this was my first viral content on that platform. Unfortunately, like I said, Mass Roots got shut down, so the next thing to move my attention was the Doobie platform. Any of you guys were on the Doobie platform as well? Yeah, not many people were on that one. So I worked really hard to do the same thing, content creation, kind of the same stuff, same game plan basically, and I was able to build the largest following on that app, over 49,000 followers. Again, unfortunately, Doobie didn't really understand the cannabis industry market, so they were kind of just showing girls in bikinis and that kind of stuff, and there wasn't really any real breeders, any real growers on the platform, and so the interest started to die down. And they lost their following late August 2018, so just pretty recently did Doobie start to fall off as well. All right, so then I actually worked with this man right here and some other larger brands around the state. Through Mass Roots and through Doobie, people started to see our content, and that's really when I wanted to start giving back. So we created our first event It was on September 11th. We were trying to get a bunch of veterans to come out for free. We had the Looper bus, and we all dabbed. And back then, especially, it was pretty nostalgia. Everyone kind of enjoyed it, and I was hoping to move forward with growing on that Doobie app. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for me. So I started teaching myself Instagram. So this was my Instagram at the time. I was doing basically the same thing that I was doing on Massroots and Doobie. Unfortunately, on Instagram, there's so many people on that platform that it's hard to compete. So I was working every day the same way on Massroots and Doobie, and I was only able to build my following to about 2,000 followers. So I really started to focus on what improves engagement. So more showing more faces, showing more of the guys that I'm hanging out with, showing more of the back end things that you would think are pretty mundane at your grows or your dispensaries. That's actually what people like to see on social media, especially in the Midwest back then. People really like to see us just messing with plants, learning how to grow cannabis. And so I kept the engagement basically with these two things, making sure that I started to learn about hashtags, and then making sure that every post that I made had a geotag. So that would be like the same thing today if you guys are taking photos, making sure that it said the Denver Mart, or you can also look up where it says Indo Expo Show, and then that will actually geotag right here where you are. So a lot more people will be able to see your content just using more hashtags and just using geotags. From there, I really started to dive into what it takes to build an Instagram account, and really that comes back to the same way when you're trying to build something like a website. You have to adhere by Instagram's algorithm. So what I would basically do is I created my profile, right? 303 Organic Cannabis. That is basically like your email, if you will. You never really want to change that, because all those likes, all those tags that people have, as soon as you change that name, all of that stuff disappears. So it's kind of like a musician or something like that. When you're on that platform, you never want to change that. You are able to change this. This is more for SEO. So I like to use emojis, because most people, when they look at your profile, they're not really going to read everything, they're going to scan. So this sticks out. When I like somebody's photo, you'll actually see my name and then Living Soil Cannabis underneath that with the little brain. So if you guys have business accounts on Instagram, this is worth gold right here. This is how people find you. So you want to have something on there, not your name. Like, to reality, most people don't know me as Bryan. Most people know me as 303 Organic Cannabis. So it's kind of pointless for me to put my name right here, because nobody's going to be looking for that. But they are looking for Living Soil Cannabis. Then once you sign up for a business account, you're able to use hashtags in real time. So this was who I was working for back in the day. And so I would just kind of show people that I was using my Instagram to educate. I was a Living Soil instructor. At that time, I was working at Buffalo. I was also growing for Green Farms. I was also the communications director for Denver Normal. And then I was also cross-promoting back then on the Doobie app. Then you would use the URL that you want to try to promote. And back then, I had only spoken at Cannagro Expo. So I'm proud to say that this is my 4th time speaking at Indo Expo. And I can attribute most of this just from this Instagram account. So you really can build brands just on Instagram. Oh, and I wanted to show, that was the first time I ever got 100 likes. So I don't know if you guys have ever got that real quick, but it's a weird feeling. I feel like it's kind of keeps you going forward when you start to realize that people are starting to pay attention to the content that you're producing. Does anybody see anything pretty weird or nostalgia-wise on this infographic?
Newspapers.
Right, newspapers. I'm sure most of you guys in here, I'm a small-time guy. I can't compete with a brand that's spending $719 total dollars on that. But the one thing that you will not see yet is there's nothing being spent on social media, at least on Instagram, Facebook. You're not even allowed to. So that allows us, the small-time guys, to start to compete with these bigger brands by just putting in the work on these social media platforms. I would imagine as we go nationwide for legalization, that Instagram, Facebook will begin to allow you guys to spend money and promote your posts, but at this time, you're not allowed to. So that gives us that even playing field right now for the small-time guy. Instagram and Facebook, although Facebook owns Instagram, they are vastly different platforms. So what would work on Facebook is not going to work on Instagram. And in my opinion, for cannabis, Facebook is starting to die off. There's about, there's about 1 billion people actively every month on Instagram, and that's obviously a huge place to start to build your profiles, start to get the word out. Instagram's growth is going at 5% per quarter, and then Facebook is only at 3%, Snapchat at 2%. So you can see that this is where the growth is going. If you're going to spend your time, and I know a lot of you guys are probably also farmers, we don't have a lot of time, I start to just focus on that one platform. And for me, everything has come from Instagram. Even though I have been on Massroots and I have been on Doobie, the only time I've actually made monetary gains in my life is from Instagram. So the platform data is really starting to come through. If you're posting things on Facebook and Instagram, you're going to see 23% less engagement on Facebook than you would with the same photo on Instagram. There's brands that are on Facebook that are promoting, and they've seen 10 times less engagement on that platform compared to Instagram. So it's not just me saying this, the data is also starting to show that the majority of people are starting to move towards Instagram. And then of course that engagement on platform is 0.09%, on Twitter 0.048%, and then this is actually pretty impressive. For the entire platform, 1.6% engagement. I don't know if you guys really understand those numbers, but that is huge for a app. That means there's a lot of people, of that billion people, that are checking in every day, looking at their Instagram feed. And that's what we want. We want eyeballs on our content. So Instagram was bought by Facebook April 9th, 2012 for $1 billion. And they actually reached that billion monthly users on June 20th, 2018. So it really hasn't been that many years until everybody started flocking towards Instagram. Instagram made $6.18 billion in 2018. They made $9.08 billion in 2019, and they're projected to make $12.32 billion in 2020. So you can tell that with that amount of money that they're starting to make, they're going to continue to improve the platform, and where big money is, that's how you know that they're not going to fall to the wayside like some of these other apps that I've been talking about. Who here understands influencer marketing? Right, so basically what that is somebody has a large profile, usually those are like Instagram models, and they take a photo of a product, snap it, and then this company would pay them for doing that. When a lot of those influential marketing campaigns were asked, which platform do you like to use? 79% of the people chose Instagram. So I really don't want to keep harping on this, but the data and everything is showing that the entire movement is moving away from anything really but Instagram, maybe a little bit of TikTok as well. So these are brands that were actually built on the Instagram platform solely on influencer marketing. And I would imagine most ladies know this brand. You guys, ladies have heard this? And then if you're a workout guy, workout lady, Bang energy drinks. So if you'll notice, they kind of do the same setup. All big brands will use emojis, and then they're trying to get you to go to something on their URL. No matter what brand you are, whether you've got 100 million followers or you have 1,000 followers, you get one link. So the goal is to try to get people to start to learn more about you using that URL. Fashion Nova chooses to post probably 5-6 times a day, really getting their content out there, where Bang Energy probably posts just a few times. So you guys can see that, you start posting more times per day. If you're able to do that, the more following that you're going to start to achieve. So last year, 95 million photos were shared per day on Instagram. 1 billion of those people were on the platform every single day. 500 million stories are being shared every single day. 63% of Instagram users log on at least once a day. And this is the metric that everyone should care about. Most people are on the entire platform are on there for at least 28 minutes a day. This is huge compared to any other platform. So that's why, again, I keep my focus on Instagram. So Instagram's goal is really to keep you addicted to their platform. They want that 28 minutes to go up to 32, then to 36 as time goes on. And one of the easiest ways for them to do that is to create certain things like this. Instagram Stories is basically like Snapchat. So they continue to improve their platform to steal a lot of that traffic that's going on to the other platforms. And I imagine in 2020, Instagram's going to continue to do these things. The problem is that cannabis is really not allowed on Instagram. So even if you are creating fantastic content, none of our stuff as far as late 2019 and now into 2020 goes on the Explore page. And that's really how you build your account on Instagram. So we have to think through these things to try to find ways for us to work together to try to help promote each other's stuff. So that's why we tag each other in the stories. Hopefully you can start tagging more of your friends in the actual daily posts, because none of our stuff is hitting that Explorer page. And Carousel was created last year, and this goal is for every single one of your posts, instead of them, when you're going through your feed, you see that one photo. Now that carousel, the goal is to keep more people on the platform. So you're able to post up to 10 photos on that carousel. And that's really where I feel like the next breakthrough is for us as cannabis farmers to start to show as many photos as we can to try to continue to build that engagement with all of the negative things that are happening with Instagram and Facebook. Has anybody had their account deleted on Facebook or Instagram? Yeah, so you guys know how disheartening that is. My account has taken me over 3.5 years to build. So if they deleted that tomorrow, to be honest, I don't know where it would be, because Instagram really is building up everything that I'm doing business-wise, branding-wise. So it's really important to stay focused on making sure that you guys understand how the algorithm works. And that's what I'm going to teach you guys today. So the youth is basically the ones that are on the platform itself. These numbers have actually started to climb late in 2019. So as you guys can see, this stuff isn't going away. It's only being consumed more and more. Does anybody know what this is? Everybody knows who Kylie Jenner is, I'm sure, right? So I would say the majority of the internet really doesn't like the Kardashians. So somebody came up with a way to beat her top photo that was done in 2018 of her daughter Stormy. So they just posted an egg and said that they wanted to break the world record, please like this egg. And I like this slide because it kind of shows the power of Instagram. We're trying to do this on obviously a microcosm scale, but if your entire cannabis community gets behind you, your stuff can also kind of go viral like this. So as to date, we're close to 53 million likes just on an egg. So I would hope that you guys really start to see there really is power behind this once those accounts start to grow. And I would give a tip of the hat to a company called 710 Labs here in Denver. Those guys really understand social media, and their stuff is still trying to go, a lot of their stuff still goes viral. And that's because they have such a strong following. And you really have to admire that in this day and age to try to build that stuff up. They have quality products. I have nothing to do with 710 Labs, but I just admire their work. Everything that they're doing, from product creation to social media to being around in the community, is the reason why they're able to combat some of these negative things that have been happening to a lot of these cannabis accounts. So last year, I was approached by a marketing company that told me that they could improve my Instagram account. And I sat down in a meeting with a few of the people in that marketing firm, and they talked about follow for follow and all these kind of like silly things that don't even really work anymore. Fortunately for me, I started to find out that I actually knew more about Instagram than this marketing company. But I asked them, please do not add fake followers, please, I don't need fake likes, that kind of stuff, and they assured me that that wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately for me, that's exactly what did happen. I almost lost my Instagram account last year, so I feel for a few of those people that raised their hand before. This is a nightmare for a cannabis Instagram account. So basically what had happened was I gave my password and my username to that marketing firm. They then outsourced that to a third party, and all around the world, people started to log into my Instagram account, which means, I don't know how you guys feel, but that's almost like maybe not as extreme to a bank account, but it's pretty close, especially if you've worked that hard to try to build that Instagram up. So now everybody has my banking information for Instagram. And again, a lot of this stuff, I took these 3, but there was a lot more login, not only attempts, but actual logins that were people were successful. So if somebody was malicious, they could have deleted my entire account, and I have no control over that whatsoever. Oh, I hate this slide. Okay, so this is basically what they started to do. They started spamming in my DMs, which, by the way, Instagram watches that stuff. So back in the day, I'm sure some of us used to, hey man, can I get a couple pounds in the DMs, that kind of stuff. The Instagram algorithm watches all of that now. So a lot of those seed breeders out there that keep getting their accounts deleted, I can assure them it's because they're doing business within that direct message. So if they stop doing that, a lot of their accounts would stop being deleted. So if you guys are talking business, that kind of stuff within that direct message, there's a chance that you are going to get deleted. And of course, if you're spamming people, which they are doing this to thousands of people, right? So basically what they're doing is, hey, my name's Bryan, I work with Living Soil Solutions, I'd love to connect with you sometime. Thousands and thousands and thousands of times every single week. Some people obviously get annoyed with that. So somebody hacked into my account and changed everything. Again, this is a nightmare situation for me. I have no idea what language this is. I had no idea what they had done. So it took me weeks to try to get my Instagram account and credentials back, which obviously slows down branding on all of those things. And then the dreaded dead followers, ghost followers. These are the kind of people that started following me. So my account jumped up, right? And I would go into those meetings, they say, oh, look at how many followers you have now. I'm not sure if you guys understand how the algorithm at least works now from 2019 and 2020, but about 7 to 10% of your followers are gonna see your content when you first post. And then those followers are gonna dictate if they like that stuff, if they're engaging, are they making comments, are they sending it to other people. If that is happening, then those photos go on to the next round of your followers, and your content can still grow, sometimes virally that way, but it's all up to those followers. So if I have a bunch of ghost followers, when I'm posting, my posts are literally going into the ether. There's nobody seeing that content. So to cheat the system in 2019, 2020 on Instagram is foolish. Maybe when we, like 2008, 2009, when a lot of that automation stuff would work, a lot of people would, you could kind of tell back in the day because there'd be 50,000 followers with 100 likes on a photo. That's a fake, right? That's a fake account. And in my opinion, that's basically like not having an account. No one's going to engage with that. People think it's silly. So I encourage you guys that if you do have a bunch of ghost followers, this kind of stuff where they don't even take the time to post a photo, you can go within your Instagram account and start to remove those people. And then this is basically Instagram on the front porch, me on their lawn, pumping that shotgun, saying if you continue to do this, we are going to delete your account. And this just happened to me just a few months ago. So I can't express enough why this is so disheartening, is because I have to work on my Instagram to grow it the way that I have organically every single day. So to have that deleted would be heartbreaking. Let's see. Sorry, I missed that there. So basically, once this comes out, I have probably about a week to 2 weeks to change things. So I have to make sure that any kind of program that I've ever logged in before, any kind of third-party app that is associated with my Instagram, I have to make sure that I log out of that and delete that from my actual phone itself, or Instagram's going to continue to notice that. If I did nothing here, they would have deleted my account. And just recently, this is basically, what is that? Not even, basically almost a month ago, I got this message. And this comes from still people that do follow me. Sometimes they'll go through the feed and like a lot of photos real quickly. Instagram sees that as an automation technique. And they actually shut down my account for a week. Every single day I would tell them that this was a mistake, and I still wasn't able to log into my account. All right, so this is kind of the bread and butter. This is what I want to teach you guys today. this is the way to organically build your Instagram account. I may not have that 22,000 followers that the marketing company touted as a good thing, but I do have real followers. So when I first start out again, I make sure that this is up here. This is the metric that most of you that have a business account really should care about, is that how many people are coming to your profile every single week. My goal with the amount of followers that I have is to try to get that up to 1,000 every single week. If you notice, I have a lower post profile, so if there's something that really didn't do well, or maybe it's an older post that had 34 likes 2 years ago, I'll just delete that post, because everything comes down to this algorithm. The more followers that I have, the better the algorithm looks, and the less people that I'm following. So on Facebook, you kind of use follow for follow. If you're friends with somebody, they follow you, you follow them back. But on Instagram, that algorithm really looks at that. So if no one's posting on the people that you're following, it's again just a ghost account. It's worthless. So there's no reason to follow people unless they're posting, I would say, at least once a week. If they're posting even once a month, it's pointless to follow them. I changed my category to entrepreneur, and that seemed to also boost my following as well when I changed it from just, it said college and university. So whatever you guys find. Some people like to put public figure, some people, I would imagine a lot of people would like to put entrepreneur, some type of brand or business, but this is another way that the algorithm finds your account. So not only am I an entrepreneur, but I'm a living soil cannabis entrepreneur, and that's the way the algorithm sees that. I've been rep Sunleaf Seed and Dominion Seed Company. Duke Diamond and Derek, they're actually out there today if you guys want to check out their seeds and stuff, but it's brands that I admire, and so I put that at the top of the list because I want people to know that these are the people that I'm associated with. With a business account, you're able to then have touch hashtags and touch at buttons. So I'm able to show off that not only do I work hand in hand with seed companies, I am a public speaker, and I've also spoke around the country at these places, and hats off to Shango Los, because I also in Portland gave a talk on living soil. That has kind of gone pretty well, I would say, on that platform.
I think we're over 20,000 watches.
Yeah. So that's another way that you can continue to build your platform through Instagram, is by co-promoting. So I try to get an action item, so I show a little video with the finger pointing down. Again, this is a living soil video, and then this goes to Shango's YouTube. So it's really easy for anybody that finds out about me to find out more about me, and I try to make that as easy as possible. I then have little highlights of what I've done throughout the week, and then of course my posts. So for 2020, this is kind of the way that Instagram wants you to start doing hashtags and tagging people, where you're actually writing it in the context of what you're saying in that text bar. So instead of just, these are the same photos. This is a gentleman in Oklahoma. I thought it was funny, so I reposted it. I don't know if you guys have been out to Oklahoma, but especially this time last year, this was the kind of stuff that a lot of these guys were growing. So I thought it was funny, made a little meme. This gentleman has very little on here, just a few hashtags. Every single hashtag that you have is going to go to that main platform. So if I have organic cannabis and you click on that hashtag, it goes to all those organic cannabis photos. As soon as this is posted, that's going to go to the most recent. But my goal is to get seen. Your goal is to get seen. So you're using those hashtags, but you want to try to find hashtags that you can rank for, because they have what's called top posts, top 9. If you can get one of your posts to be in that top 9, sometimes that will last for years. And then that's really how people start to find you. So I write this out, I tag the people that are with, I start to look up and research hashtags that I feel like I can rank for. I give credit, because this obviously isn't my photo. I give shout outs to people that I admire over the years. And as you guys can see, I get way more engagement by doing it this way. So hashtags is really the basis of Instagram. And this is where you guys really need to take the time to start to do the research. I would say start off with 10 at a time. So I would research 10 hashtags for that week, find out what they are. All you really need to do is go into your Instagram with the little search icon, type in organic cannabis, hit that tag, and all of those photos, especially that top 9, will pop up. So it'll show you, like if you hit cannabis right now, I guarantee it's still at 20.4 million tags. So when we make a post, what we want to do is try to get a little bit of these larger hashtags. So I know when I make a post, most of these hashtags might last 15 minutes where people are seeing it, because so many people are using that hashtag that it gets lost in the feed. But at the same time, 15 minutes on a large hashtag like that, you might get 100 likes if it's a quality photo. Then I go down and I try to do like the medium-sized stuff. So these hashtags, when I make a post, would probably last maybe 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on how many people are on the platform for that day. And then I do more like niche type stuff that is relevant to me. So I'm really big on quality. We kind of jumped on the bandwagon of a grow like a pro. And then these 2 tags I obviously created. So if you have a brand, create something that that is relevant to you. It doesn't even really matter if a lot of people see that, because not many people are using Living Soil Solutions hashtag, but if they do go and click that, they're gonna see all of my posts or my business partners' posts. So it's really important to make sure that you guys use a few that go out and then all the way up to the top where there's millions of people looking at that on a daily basis. Instagram stories, you guys using Instagram stories? This is kind of the new frontier. If you're not seeing a lot of action on your posts, I assure you, if you do have a quality following, you'll see a lot of action on your stories. A lot of people don't even want to scroll through the feed anymore. They just want to sit there and hold their phone and sit there and watch the stories scroll. So I encourage you guys, this is more of like the daily kind of stuff. So if you're just daily here at the Indo Expo show, take a quick photo, put that in your stories. If it's something that you haven't seen a buddy in a long time and you're making a photo and you want something to be permanent, then that's what I would post up in your actual post feed, where people will see that usually for years to come. And Instagram stories is a little bit different than just your normal hashtags. Instagram stories only last for 24 hours. So our goal is to go big. So we never want to use niche type hashtags unless we're at a niche type event. Otherwise, you want to use these larger hashtags. So if you're doing something with cannabis, like obviously a 420 sticky hashtag is going to be a lot more popular than just my Living Soil Solutions. Not many people are going to see that, but then again, it only lasts for 24 hours. So who's heard of Gary Vee? That guy crushes it. So this really is the secret of how I've been able to organically build my Instagram from 4,000 followers to 17,000 followers with no gimmicks. And it's the $1.80 principle. So basically what I do is I go around and I put my 2 cents in on these top 9 photos for these 10 hashtags that I've just done research on. So every day I'm putting my 2 cents in on those top 9, and then that's what allows me to get to that $1.80. So this stuff usually takes probably an hour or 2 of my time every single day. There really is no secret. There's no automation anymore. It's kind of like going to the gym. You either put in the work and you do this formula, you will see your Instagram grow, I guarantee you. And if you stick with this stuff for 90 days, I assure you, you're gonna start getting hundreds, if sometimes thousands of followers a week, because you're posting your 2 cents on those top 9 photos, and sometimes those top 9 photos will last for years. So sometimes I'll put like, hey, check out organic cannabis, 303 Organic Cannabis. I'm repping Sunleaf Seeds at Indo Expo, and I'll post that. Or if there's somebody that makes like a really good photo, hey, great photo. Somebody that's been working out, that kind of stuff. Hey man, swole, that kind of stuff. So you're really trying to engage with your audience without making it come off as spammy. Does everybody kind of get how this? Yeah? All right. And then this is it in real time. So So I just click on organic marijuana. These are the top posts for that hashtag. And then I just go through those top 9, start to scroll down, like the photo, add a comment, and I do that for all top 9, and I do that for 10 hashtags every single day. And I promise you, stick with that for 90 days and your account will explode. But there is no shortcut. So I see another gentleman, I agreed with that little meme, hashtag to make sure that the account owner sees it, and then I just keep it moving. If I'm following someone, I make sure that I go through and I like every single one of their photos for that day. I'm not one of these guys that I don't like that photo, so I'm not going to like it. My goal is to build a brand on Instagram. So all of the people that I follow already, I like them, so I'm going to give them a like. Every time that I do put a like on their photo, it pops up 303 Organic Cannabis like this photo. So that means that when people that are also following me, when they see that same photo, they're able to also see that 303 Organic Cannabis liked that photo. Here's some more stuff from Indo Expo last year. So like some of my friends here, right? They also like that photo. And that's why anybody that I'm following, I make sure that I like their photo as best as I can and try to keep up that several times a day, is because this is also branding. People, if you get 863 likes on a photo, that probably means, double that amount of people actually probably saw that photo. So it's a good metric for me to be able to gauge how people like my content, whether they didn't like that content. And then this is my, these are the amount of followers that I've actually gotten in real time. Again, I've been shadow banned last year. Does anybody know what that means? So shadow banning is when I'm using my hashtags and it's not showing up in that hashtag feed. So I put organic cannabis, if you click on that, it doesn't show up in that hashtag. That's what's known as shadow banning. That's how they punish you, if you will, for not doing what Instagram's asking. And I got punished pretty heavily with this because I was using automation software. If this sounds too daunting for you guys, especially it really is an hour and a half to 2 hours every single day of going through and liking stuff on Instagram to be able to build your profile. My opinion is then focus on LinkedIn. I think this is going to be huge for 2020 and beyond, and it's very easy to gain traction. Are a lot of you guys on LinkedIn as well? Yeah, it's pretty confusing though, right? You kind of look through there and there's still kind of a lot of spam stuff. But you guys know who owns LinkedIn? Nobody? Microsoft. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. So there's deep money behind this. So that's another platform that's not going to fail, like Massroots or like Doobie, that's going to run out of money. So I would put my time and attention to some of these that are going to stick around for a long time. And there's not really that many people that engage on LinkedIn. So it's a lot easier to start to build that brand. I would co-brand with that kind of stuff and show people your other profiles. Then at the end of the day, my goal is to get people, whether they look me up by my name, Bryan Wachsman, or by my Instagram handle, that a lot of things start to pop up on the Google search engines. Now, if you have a website, usually you have to hire somebody that really understands SEO to start to get to the top of that. But a hack would be if you can start to improve your social media profiles. Google loves those profiles, especially YouTube, that kind of stuff, because they own that platform. So they'll put your information at the top of that, the top 10 search feed. And that's really where anybody, at least nowadays, seems to go. If you're not in that top 10, most people don't go to page 2, page 3. And the easiest way to get to that top 10 is through social media. So I left this open because I'd really like to engage with you guys on questions. So if guys have a few questions.
What's your take on TikTok and new platforms like that?
So I think TikTok is going to be huge. Right now it's kind of gimmicky and it's young, but I definitely feel like it's here to stay. So that is probably something, you know, probably this year I'll start to research and learn on my own. But right now I just don't have enough knowledge of TikTok to kind of help anyone right now.
I have a couple of questions. You said that cannabis in general is not allowed on Instagram. Are you talking about sales of cannabis? Cannabis products?
Instagram will not allow you to pay to promote. And that's really how a lot of these marketing companies get by with stuff. So if I was selling teapots, right, I could pay to have those teapots promoted on that platform. But because cannabis is federally illegal, they will not allow you to promote. So right now, all of us are on the same playing field as some of these large brands. And this is that small little window that some of you guys can continue to build your brands. That's why I was showing that infographic of how much money is really starting to be spent on advertising cannabis. None of that money can be spent on these social media platforms at this time.
But you're saying just the plant part, not for people that sell lights or supporting products or containers. It's just the plant?
There's some brands that can get away with that, but if you're using the hashtag cannabis or something like that, the algorithm is going to eventually see that.
Okay, and then you said the 710 Lab guys were super rad.
Crush it.
And had a great page.
Crush
And
it.
so I go look, they got 220,000 likes or followers, but their page is private. Why would they do that?
So some people believe that Instagram isn't going to delete your account if you keep it private. They have such a following and such a known name around the country that they're able to do that. In my opinion, if you're a business, especially a cannabis business, it's silly to keep your profile private because no one's going to be able to see that unless you already have that brand. But for most of us in this room, we're trying to build that brand. So if we keep that profile private, no one's going to see it.
So I run the Instagram for Iovia, and a lot of times when I'm at pop-ups and stuff, I'll post, hey, we're at this dispensary, it's 20% off. I don't ever post the price, but I'll say it's 20% off these tinctures. Is that okay, or should I stop?
That's going to probably end up biting you in the butt.
Okay.
No pricing whatsoever.
Thank you.
More questions? I know you got them. Raise your hand. There you go.
I just have a general question. In Instagram, you can auto post to Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr. Is it a waste of time or?
Yes, sir.
No-brainer?
The algorithm likes it when you physically hit that button. So I would move away from anything automated, especially for 2020. And Instagram hates automation because, especially on these third-party platforms, you guys are spending money with them. Eventually, they want us to spend money on their platform. So that's why they're not allowing us to be on that Explore page and that kind of stuff, because they really want us to do it correctly, or you're going to get hammered like I did last year.
So we just got Hootsuite. We just got Hootsuite so we can schedule. So that's what you're saying. They don't like that.
No, ma'am. Hootsuite was cool like 5 years ago. Yeah. Anything automated really is dying off. Even with the influencer marketing that I was talking about from before, right? Instagram hates influencer marketing because those big brands are using those Instagram models to promote everything. So that's why they, in my opinion, that's why they got rid of the likes last year for the majority of the accounts, because you take away those likes from the influencer pages and nobody really knows how powerful that account is on Instagram anymore. It'll just say so many people and thousands of others like that photo.
Does the private help with a dispensary being over 21, or that doesn't matter?
No. That's what I mean. You're out there in the ocean, if you will. And there's really no way, one day Instagram could come and delete your account. And that's what I meant from before. Like, we are building our houses on somebody else's land, and they can come and take that away from us at any time. So that's why I wanted to show you guys in real time what Instagram will start to do and start to threaten you if you do not play by the rules. They're very secretive in the way the algorithm works, the same way that Google is for a lot of those webmasters trying to figure out how to get your brands on that top 10 list. It's the same thing with Instagram. Everybody sits around and tries to figure out what is the best way to promote.
Can you speak a little further into LinkedIn? LinkedIn has become like my news feed for everything in the cannabis around both hemp and the marijuana side. It seems to be a really safe platform.
Yes.
But I'm not sure how to work with it on the business side of it, much like you're doing with Instagram.
It's kind of the same way. I mean, right now, my strategy on LinkedIn is just to post quality content. And you don't really have to be on it as much because Microsoft is throwing a lot of money into that because they want to compete with Instagram. The majority of the people, since they're already posting on Instagram, they just don't have enough time to go and do these other platforms. So how do we get more people to come to LinkedIn? Well, we start to encourage other people to see these profiles. So you can post pretty gimmicky stuff on LinkedIn, you'll still have like 1,000, 2,000 people see that. Where on Instagram, I mean, you really have to have quality content to get 1,000 likes.
We are out of time. Thank you very much to Bryan Wachsman. Bryan, you're allowed to questions afterwards.